Hello, welcome to another video in my series about the Aventuria Almanac, and this time I'm going to talk about this region up here, labeled the Steppes of the North, and the Steppes of the Orcs. And maybe I should first show you what an orc looks like in Aventuria before we go to talk about them. And there is an image of an orc in the bestiary, and here this is an orc warrior. Obviously, they are covered in fur, black fur usually. There are also ones that have brown or white fur, but the majority, like 99% of them, have black fur, some kind of black. That's why they are called coal pelts by the humans. And they are not as tall as humans, a bit shorter. You can see this in the comparison chart between the different species. This is the orc. There we have a goblin and lizard man, and in comparison here are the humans, dwarves and elves. And as you can see, they are not only a bit shorter, but also a lot more muscular and stronger in general than humans are. That's for the looks. Now let's talk about the land they live in. And this is a more detailed map of this area. And you can see what you see up here between the mountains and the territory to the east is the territory of the orcs. The mainland they live in, the one that is called the Orc land, is here in the center in the middle of these mountains. They live there as wandering tribes in tents, moving around. They mostly live from hunting. They also do herd cattle and do some farming, but that they don't do this very extensive. Mostly it is hunting what they do. And their tribes, or the whole society, is living in a caste system, and where the only caste that is worth anything and the highest caste are the warriors. There is a caste within the warrior caste, the hunters and warrior caste, that is an elite warrior caste, that's the Okwach. And below the warrior caste there is the caste of craftsmen, the caste of farmers, and the caste for slaves. And they are not really considered very important or very worthy. Everybody in this caste really would want to try to get up to the caste of the warriors by just showing that they are good warriors and hunters. And outside this caste system there are women, the women of the orcs, or women in general. The women of the orcs are not really considered orcs at all. They are just animals they have that breed orcs, something that is their view of orcish women. And their whole society is very martial, revolves a lot around the war. They're constantly fighting, and you are only worth anything if you're a good fighter and hunter. And there are a lot of rivalries between the different tribes that live in the Orc land. And they also have waged war against the humans several times. There are 4 bigger wars known, and they also fight against everybody else. But usually because they're rivals among each tribe, rivalries between the tribes, they really don't unify that often to launch a powerful attack against one of their neighbors. Usually when they do, then they are led by Aika Bratzorak, which is a champion of Bratzorak, and Bratzorak is one of their gods, the god of war. And he regularly elects one of the orcs as his champion, and even blesses him with divine power. So he's also a priest of Bratzorak and the highest priest. And the Icar is usually able to unify the tribes and make them work together to achieve something bigger they wouldn't achieve on their own as a single tribe. And the last Icar has appeared about 40 years ago, and he unified the tribes and he launched an attack on the humans and the Midden Realm especially. They attacked to the southeast and conquered a lot of territory, were very successful in this war, reached the capital of the Midden Realm, Gareth, and then they were defeated, and the humans could drive them back into their homeland. So the Midden Realm is free again, but they also attacked the Swelt Union to the east. That was a union of independent cities. They were like a trade power, a merchant power, very successful at trading, but they were independent cities and they didn't really have a standing army or anything. And the Orcs could easily conquer this territory here and have been in control over this for the last 30 years. And the territory is one where humans and Orcs live together, and the humans pay tributes to the Orcs, but as the Orcs don't really have an organized system, a state or something like that, in this territory there is the law of the jungle in effect. So you can do whatever you want as long as you're strong strong enough to enforce your will. And the Orcs will even respect you if you show that you are strong and don't have to, if you can push through your own agenda. So there's only one city that is still independent down here, Lovangen. The city is the biggest in the area, could defend against the Orcs, but as it is surrounded by Orc territory, it has to pay high tributes every year and to keep its freedom, but this results not only in the city being free, but also a territory around the city is off limits for the Orcs, and as long as they pay their tributes, they are left alone. But not always. Sometimes one independent Orc chief thinks he wants to attack. I think this has happened one time, and an independent Orc chief in this area attacked the city, but he could be defeated by Orcs and humans together, I think. So he was stopped and the city is still independent. The only city of the Swelt Union that is still independent is up here. It's Riva, and it makes it the most important harbor. It still was an important harbor before, but now it's the most important harbor for the humans in the north, because it also is the gate to the steppes of the Nevesen in the east, and the territory in the north in general. And the territory has also a touch of our human Wild West, because currently there is something like a gold rush going on, and there was a lot of stars were falling from the sky, which is part of a meta plot in the Dark Eye universe, and there's a little campaign about this starfall where you can find out what it was all about. It also lets you explore the Orkland and the territory here, and currently there's this gold rush going on with typical cities that rise out of nowhere and become very have a lot of population in a short time and so on, and that is an element of this territory. What else? The Ica did not only launch one attack on the humans. I think 10 years later, he started another war, this time not to the southeast, but more to the east and to the southwest. And the point of the war was not so much to conquer territory, but they wanted to get some holy and powerful artifacts back they had left there several hundred or thousand years ago, because at that time the Orcs ruled over a lot of northern territory, and they had temples in cities that now belong to humans and so on. And when they were defeated, they had to leave certain artifacts there, and the Ica wanted to get these back. So he started another war. They were again defeated, the Orcs, but the Ica was successful at getting these artifacts, so now he is equipped with holy weapons of his god and has magical artifacts he can use. Well, I don't know if they're magical. They're probably all of divine power, not magical. Another thing the Archive did, it was found the first big Orcish city down here, Quetzara, which is now the capital of the Orcs and where the Icar lives. And there live several thousand warriors of different Orcish tribes. The city is heavily defended, and all the tributes that are brought from the Sveld land to the Orkland are going to Quetzara. Another thing the Icar is currently doing, he is building a huge tower, mostly made of, or in large parts made out of horn, and it's a huge building. It's a skyscraper like we would build on Earth, maybe even bigger, and the building has been going on for over 20 years, I think, or something like that, 20 years, and no one really knows what are his plans. I think the tower is somewhere located here in the southeast of the Orkland. I don't know where it exactly is. And there's also the campaign I talked about earlier. You can go to this tower and find out a bit about it, but not really that much. Then there are not only orcs living here in this territory in the Orkland. There's one human city down here, Fexcare. It was left alone by the orcs for a long time, because once when they attacked, a giant came and helped the city, and I think after that the orcs believed that the giant would in general defend the city, which was not true. And but they left the city alone until recently, when orcs attacked and plundered the city. The city is again under control of humans, but it is no longer considered untouchable for the orcs. So, and there is a legend of an old dwarven city in the mountains here. Inside the mountains, there was a city called Umratzin, a dwarven mine, and it was founded several thousand years ago, but then suddenly disappeared. There was never heard of again of the orcs that lived there, and no one really knows what happened. It is said that the orcs of the dwarves of Umratzin had a magical or divine artifact that allowed them to look into the earth to find the minerals and the ores that were lying there, and this made the city very rich. But it is said that it also led to the downfall because they were too greedy, and they were punished by the gods or anything, or they all died in a civil war about the riches, or it is not really known, and no one really knows where this mine is, where this city is. But also, I think there is a campaign where you can go there and find out something about it, or at least find where the city is. I just cannot remember which one it was. Yeah, I think that's all I wanted to tell you about the Orkland and the Orcish steppes of the north. Yeah, if you have any questions, want to know something specific, or something is unclear, then write a comment and I'll try to answer it. Else, that's it for now. And thanks for the attention, and goodbye till the next video.